What's up, folks? Guy McPherson here, and it is Friday in Oakland, California. Beautiful day. Sitting here on my porch, and you know, when I was in school, when I was getting my graduate degree, I went back to school as a non-traditional student, an older student. I think I was like 35, and so I had lived up until that point. And so I was in this doctoral program, and I've talked about this need to get as much information about trauma as I could, because I thought that is what would make me the best trauma therapist I could be. What books could I read? What could I gobble up? And prior to that, I didn't have that. What's up, Janelle and Hannah? I didn't have that, and I neglected the first thing that came to my mind was my soul, my heart, my trust, my self-trust, my self-belief. And why did I, it wasn't that I didn't value that. I didn't realize that. I didn't value it. I didn't think that it was as important to the therapeutic process, to the foundation, the healing foundation. And why? I know the reason why. And that was because that, in a sense, was essentially holding up a mirror to myself. And that's not always easy to do, right? I mean, who wants to kind of explore themselves to the degree that maybe they don't want to even look at? And not that I had this crazy past I didn't want to look at. This fire engine going by. But I think there were certain things that I felt I needed to succeed in. I think the degree meant a lot more to me than being myself. I mean, I figured that who I was maybe wasn't enough. My experiences weren't enough. That I felt that worthiness, that self-worthiness wasn't there. And I'm sharing this because that is so crucial in work as a therapist, work as a coach, and especially when you're working with people who've been impacted by trauma. And that, to me, is that process, that journey lights me up. I mean, it's one of the things I do in the podcast. Is, if you've heard me talking before, it's me essentially getting in there and going right towards the heart of the person and finding out how the hell did you get on this journey? Are you doing this? Which is amazing stuff. I was interviewing someone yesterday, a really inspiring psychologist, Dr. Shauna Springer, and she works here in Northern California at the VA. And she said something that really, what's up, Hannah? Thanks, man. She said she loved the podcast. Appreciate that. Dr. Springer said, when she first started out, she was young. She just started getting into seeing clients. She felt similarly. She felt like she had that clinical hat on, and she was told by her supervisor to, call this list of 100 people who basically stopped. This list of 100 people, these clients, had been seeing the previous therapist, right? So now they're seeing Dr. Springer's coming in, now they're seeing her. So she had to call all these people, and a lot of them were veterans, and a lot of them were older. Most of them were male, and she was all eager and calling them on the phone, and a lot of them were like, what the hell do you know about me? And it's that same thing. It's that belief that a lot of us need to do something else rather than just be ourselves. And listen, here, I say this every time, but obviously knowledge is crucial. Understanding how trauma impacts the brain and the body is crucial. But this other piece and especially specifically with regards to trauma therapists or trauma coaches, and there are a lot of you guys out there. That piece and uncovering that is what I love to do. It's what I do through my coaching. It's what I do on the podcast. Dig in there, I love that. And it's what I'm doing in my own life. I mean, I'm not seeing clients now. I'm doing the Trauma Therapist Project, the Trauma Therapist Podcast full-time, Trauma Therapist 2.0 and coaching full-time. But it's this journey that I myself am continually going on, is stepping up to find my truth, live my truth, and to engage and with someone else, in a relationship with someone else. And why is that important? Because, think about it. When you see someone or even experience someone who's engaging with you on a heart level, on an honest level, it's almost like you can't believe it. It just feels so honest and so real. And for someone who's been impacted by trauma, for someone who probably has had that self-belief ripped out of their gut, their self-trust, and trust in others ripped out of their gut, to be able to mirror that, to be able to model that with someone else is so profound. I mean, it's more than the foundation of healing. And I just love talking about this, and trying to create a community of people who want to ignite around this topic is what I'm about. I mean, I can see myself, envision myself creating events where this is what we do. Finding one's heart, one's truth, one's honesty, one's authenticity within the therapeutic process. Again, whether that's as a therapist, as a coach, that's one thing. Learning about how trauma impacts the brain and the body. I'm going to leave that to the Janina Fishers and the Pat Ogdens and the Bruce Perrys and the Bessel van der Kolks of the world. And it goes on and on and on. But my passion is, igniting one's truth. I was talking to someone in my group coaching program, and it was this, they were experiencing a hesitancy, a stuckness around this process. And, I think I'm pretty good at seeing that, at honoring that within other people, and bringing that forth in other people. And the art here is doing it in such a way so that it's unfolded, right? You can't blast someone with a perception or a sense. In other words, that's where the art in this work comes in. But that's what I love doing. I mean, I think I love doing that from an earliest stage. And my background, is the intersecting circles of creativity, of trauma, of and finding heart and finding authenticity and honoring that within this work. So if you're a new trauma healer, if you're a new trauma provider, if you're just starting out on your trauma-informed journey, first of all, I want to say thank you so much for watching this and for the work you do. In my heart, I have a special place in my heart for people who are doing this, but specifically for people who are just starting out on this trauma-informed journey. Why? Because I feel oftentimes there's a hesitancy, there's a lack of education generally out there, not always, but generally out there. And I think a lot of people need that push, need that self-confidence, need that belief in themselves and worthiness, that sense of worthiness, to know that within that context, they are enough. And that is powerful. That happened to me when I was seeing clients. That happened to me later on. It happened to me after a series of events, which I'm not going to get into now. But it got to a point where I was able to just kind of exhale and feel about it. So that's my neighbor is walking her dog. So that's what I want to talk about today. And I think it's a special thing when we're able to get to a point. What's up, Jody and Hannah? Get to a point where you're able to exhale and be with someone, again, whatever context that is in, it's in a therapeutic or a coaching context, and to allow your being to be enough and to be with someone else, and to experience that within the context of healing, if that makes sense. So just a Friday quick thing on authenticity and healing, and believe me, this is a process for me. I'm not sitting here as some Zen master, God knows, but just I'm excited and passionate about uncovering that and sharing that journey with you. All right, so I'm going to sign off, and I'll see you next week.